Holla freaking Louia, baby! The Toronto Maple Leafs are officially back in business. The hockey gods answered our prayers, and Mike Babcock has been fired. Oh man, I almost forgot what it was like to watch entertaining, skillful Leaf hockey under that stupid chip and chase system. But management actually listened and had the balls to pull the trigger on a future Hall of Fame coach in Mike Babcock, firing him and replacing him with our AHL affiliate, the Toronto Marlies' former head coach, Sheldon Keefe. So Keefe comes up from the Marlies, now the head coach of the Leafs, and Babcock out to the street, baby. Now, I have a lot to say. This is a shootout commentary, but we're not going to be talking about the footage whatsoever. My opinions, boys. All right, I have a lot to say. So, let's get into this by starting off talking about Mike Babcock. Because, I don't think his time here in Toronto was an absolute failure. I don't want to shit on him, all right? I didn't like the style, but he did a lot of good things for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Before we get to what he did with the Leafs, first off, his career numbers. This guy's going to find a job somewhere else. He's a stud coach. 700 wins, 418 losses, 19 ties, and 164. So he's a winning coach. His record with the Leafs, 173 wins, 133 losses, and 45 overtime/shootout losses. I mean, as a Leaf fan that's gone through some dumpster fire years, you show me that record, I say, yes, please. I'll take that anytime. And then the Leafs playoff record, 7 wins, 12 losses. Not the greatest right there. But you know what? Mike Babcock came into the league as a rookie coach, brought the Anaheim Ducks to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I remember that series because I was rooting for Paul Kariya and the underdog Ducks to beat the stupid Devils and Martin Brodeur. But of course, the Devils had to win yet another Stanley Cup, a boring team to win the cup or whatever. But what a debut for Mike Babcock. The next season, he comes back with the Anaheim Ducks, and Paul Kariya, the traitor, leaves Anaheim to team up with his buddy Teemu Selanne to try to form a super team with Joe Sakic, Milan Hajduk, and Forsberg in Colorado. Injuries didn't let that happen, but the Ducks were left captainless, and yes, they missed the playoffs the next season. After 2 years with the Ducks, the Detroit Red Wings snagged up this young up-and-coming coach, and he spent 10 years with the Red Wings, getting them to the Cup Finals twice, winning a cup once, and doing his part to contribute to the 25 years in a row where the Red Wings made the playoffs. Babcock was there for 10 years. They made the playoffs 10 years. So he did a solid job in his first, 12 seasons in the NHL. Then moved to Toronto. And the first year in Toronto went pretty much the way everyone thought it was going to be. We didn't make the playoffs, but this was the season where we had just traded away Phil Kessel. We were clearly going through a rebuild. We were fed up with the way our team was playing. So he took that team, found out which players that we wanted to hold on to. Players we didn't want to hold on to, we reflipped for more players. At the end of that season, worst team in the NHL, but guess what that led to? Austin Matthews. And that set up a weird-ass year for the Toronto Maple Leafs, because think about this. All the rookies that we had going into Austin Matthews' first year, he wasn't the only rookie. Matthews, yes, you got Marner, rookie. Nylander, rookie. Kapanen, rookie. Janssen, rookie. Who else was in there? Guccier, rookie. Hyman, rookie. Connor Brown, rookie. Timoshev. No, he wasn't playing at that time. I don't know if Dermott and Hall were playing in there as well, but the point is the Leafs started that season with like 8 or 9 rookies, and Mike Babcock turned that team into a playoff team. That's right. A team full of like 8 or 9 rookies actually made the playoffs and scared the bejesus out of the Washington Capitals. We took them to a Game 6 overtime. We win that, it's a Game 7. Anything happens in Game 7. And this was before they won the Stanley Cup. So the seeds of doubt were certainly there. And that Caps team went on to win the Stanley Cup the following season. So all of a sudden the Leafs, 6 games in the playoffs, the future's looking bright. And Babcock was the head coach for that. The next season, Boston, Game 7, once again, just like 2013, embarrassed in Game 7 in round number 1 against the Boston Bruins. And this was the point where it was like, all right, did we take a step back or did we take a step forward? Technically, we took a step forward, right? Because it was round 1, but it was Game 7. We got 1 game further than the Game 6 from the previous year, but the way we got beat with Jake Gardiner making the mistakes, Anderson, the young players not necessarily taking over a game, you could still make the argument that, hey, we're a young team, we're getting better, but the Boston Bruins are just, they're the better team right now. Our time is coming. So Babcock comes back for a 3rd year, or 4th year, looking for 3 years in a row to make the playoffs. We get back to the playoffs against the Boston Bruins again. This time 3-2 series lead. 2 chances to win. We lose game 6 and we lose game 7. Once again, Jake Gardiner not playing great. Plays his last game as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Anderson letting some bad goals. And the question lingering the Leafs over the offseason is, what's the problem? Is it the coach? Is it the system? Is it the players? Are they just not performing? Is it Kyle Dubas paying these players big-time money, which means that we don't have the cap space available to get them the help that they need to maybe get us over a team like Boston in the playoffs, right? So who are you going to blame? The GM, the coach, the players? Well, we start this year with everyone still in place. Dubas is still there. Babcock is still there. The players are getting paid. And we start the season with a record 9, 10, and 4. Now, the record wasn't worrying me at all. I look at this team and I think to myself, all right, they're going to get back to the playoffs. It's not a question of can we make the playoffs. It's a question of can we make it past the first round. But why are we playing so bad? And it seems like the players had just given up on Mike Babcock. And that record, 9, 10, and 4, it also was capped off with losing 6 in a row. After that 6th loss, Mike Babcock out, fired. Now, I want to say this. Mike Babcock, even though he was fired 3 years in a row, he got the Toronto Maple Leafs to the playoffs. All right, I'm not giving him all the credit. The players obviously did the work as well. But 3 years in a row. Do you guys know what the last time the Toronto Maple Leafs made the playoffs 3 years in a row was? 2013, we made it once. Before that, you have to go all the way back to 2004. That's right. 2002, 2003, 2004 was the last time the Toronto Maple Leafs made the playoffs 3 years in a row. 15 years ago. All right, I'm sure there's some people watching this video right now that are younger than 15 years of age. So what the heck? So the fact that he made it 3 years in a row, it's definitely the right direction for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But here's the problem. I feel as if Mike Babcock is a better coach for a blue chip underdog team. He can take a bunch of players who shouldn't be in the conversation and get them to play a specific system, turn them into role players to get the most out of somebody. That's why players on the Leafs like Hyman, Mikheyev, Dermott, they succeed under the Babcock system because they're given the chance. The roles are very simple. Go get the puck and give it to the better players. All right, quick shifts, get it in deep, forecheck, trap, that's it. But we have so many skill-based players, so many speedy players that they just want to have the puck. They just want to go and do their thing. They want the green light. Year 1, it was fine. The rookie contract, you could get away with telling them to play a certain way. But when you look at a guy like Austin Matthews, he's a horse with a leash on right now with Babcock. And under Sheldon Keefe, the last 2 games, the guy has had he's been unleashed essentially. And it's been so fun to watch the Leafs actually playing in possession of the puck, making passes while going for line changes, skating across the blue line. And now when they dump it in, it's different. It's not like a chip and chase where a defenseman flings it up the ice and the forward just chips it with his stick. So the puck goes in, there's no icing. And then after that, everyone goes for a change and then you trap in the zone, trying to avoid 2-on-1s, trying to avoid breakaways, trying to get a power play or trying to counterattack and score that way. That was the Babcock system, defense first, all right? But our team is constructed for offense. It should be about keeping the puck on our sticks. And when we dump it in now, we skate up to the red line, flip it in, and then we carry that speed into the zone. So it's just such a better system to watch. We're certainly going to make mistakes this way, but here's how I see it. I'm going to give you guys a perfect analogy for Mike Babcock and the problem that was haunting our team. Do you guys remember the Super Bowl between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots? Right at the goal line, end of the game, should have ran it with beast mode, Marshawn Lynch. All right, should have ran it, but they decided to throw it. That is Mike Babcock in a nutshell, all right? He's the coach that wants to make the decision that wins the game. He's the coach that wants to be noticed as the man with the impeccable plan that can turn anyone into a cup contender. He wants to be the one to make that decision at the end of the movie, the last snap, the last puck drop. All of a sudden, you whip something out of your hat that you practiced all year long, and it wins you the championship, and everyone loves you. You know, that coach should have just done the simple thing. Run the ball. You're on the goal line. You have the best running back. Run the ball. Let the players win the game, or let the players lose the game. When the coach is the reason for you winning games and the coach is the reason for you losing games, the players are going to hate you, unless they're shitty players. But I guarantee you, a player like Austin Matthews, he wants to be the reason we win, and he wants the responsibility for when we lose. But under Mike Babcock, I mean, you hear Mike Babcock talking about how he's a two-way player. Matthews is operating with a leash around. He can't just go. He can't just flow. He doesn't have the green light. And that's how I would describe Mike Babcock. Our team was that team 3 years ago, but we're a new team now. We need to have the green light offensively. We need to let our defensemen jump up in the rush. We need to play the way our offensive players want to play. And Mike Babcock would not change his system. No, you're playing with you. No, I'm not changing my lines. No, our power play is not going to have a bomb from the point. 4 forwards on the power play. It's just he was so stubborn in his ways. So it was just time for a change. And ever since I started watching the Leafs with Sheldon Keefe, I mean, the amount of passes back and forth. Nylander and Matthews are just going back and forth to one another. The breakout looks fantastic. It was just time for a change. So it was clear that Mike Babcock was the problem with this roster. And I've never seen the Leafs so happy. I mean, they're not making Babcock look very good. If you guys didn't see the video of the post-game in the dressing room after Sheldon Keefe's first win, everyone's smiling. Austin Matthews goes up to Sheldon and says, "Hey, Sheldon, congratulations." He would have never done that with Babcock, and now I actually feel like Austin Matthews may stay in Toronto after 5 years. Babcock would have run him out of town, but now he can run up the score, baby, and have some fun. So thank you, Babcock, all right, but it was time for you to go. And on a side note, I don't think anyone else picked this up, all right? I did my due diligence, boys. You know who really owned Babcock twice? Marc-Andre Fleury. Think about this. You go back to 2008, 2009. Babcock won the Cup in 2007 and 8. Then Pittsburgh and Detroit again faced off in 2008, 2009. The last time that Babcock was in the Stanley Cup final. All right? Look at this clip right here.
Off the tie-up. It comes back to the point. Rafalski, the shot. Knocked down in front. Scrambled. Another shot. The horn sounds and the Penguins have won the Stanley Cup.
That's Game 7. They are down by 1. If Marc-Andre Fleury doesn't make that save, perhaps Detroit wins the Stanley Cup. Now let's fast forward, baby, to Mike Babcock's last game as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs, or as the head coach of the Leafs. What happened at the end of the game?
And now the puck back to center. He got a stick on it. Mikheyev into the offensive zone. Rush shot off the crossbar. Rebound and a diving save by Flurry.
Marc-Andre Fleury, the Babcock killer, baby. I mean, who knows? If we score that goal against Vegas and we win, maybe they don't fire him. Maybe we can catch fire, get on a winning streak. But there's a little nugget for you, all right? Fleury destroyed Babcock's Stanley Cup hopes with the Detroit Red Wings, and Fleury destroyed Babcock's hopes as head coach with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Marc-Andre Fleury, savage, baby. All right, so enough about Mike Babcock. Let's talk about the new man, the new coach. What's the nickname for him? The Chief Keefe, baby, Sheldon Keefe. All right, so I'm just going to go off some of his stats right here. I have no clue about this guy. I haven't been following him in the Marlies or anything like that, but the CCHL stats, he's got 303 wins, 96 losses, 4 ties, and 20 overtime/shootout losses, so a winning record right there. OHL stats with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, 134 wins, 55 losses, and 15 overtime losses, so again, another winning record. And then he makes the transition to the AHL with the Toronto Marlies, who, I'll admit it, the Marlies have a stacked team because we got money. But 200 wins, 89 losses, and 31 overtime losses. So even though he hasn't coached at all in the NHL, he's obviously got experience coaching in other leagues. Kind of reminds me of a Nick Nurse from the Toronto Raptors, you know, a rookie coach who coached everywhere, had success, and now has been given the chance in the big time. And I don't know if that's the right thing to do in modern sports now. It's like these old-time coaches may just be out of touch with the younger players. You know, you bring in a rookie coach who is almost like he can kind of, like, he can get along with the players. He can what's the word I'm looking for? He can bond with the players because they're all new, you know, they're all trying to succeed. Or Babcock, because of his history, it's like, no, you're going to do what I say because I'm Babcock, you know? So I don't, these younger coaches, man, I like it. And what I really love about this decision to bring up Sheldon Keefe, all right? Think about this. He has been coaching the Toronto Marlies for, 4 or 5 years? Now, the way we've constructed our Toronto Maple Leafs, we're top heavy. We've spent a lot of money on guys like Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares. Riley's coming up in 2 years. Anderson's coming up in 1 year, all right? If we're going to continue to succeed going forth, we need to have AHL players that have been playing for the Marlies come up and fill in roles. We're not going to be able to go out and get a $3 million free agent. It's not going to happen. We're going to have to find guys on two-way deals who play in the Marlies and find a way to crack the roster and come on up. Well, Sheldon Keefe, guess what? He has been coaching the Toronto Marlies for the last 5 years, which means he's familiar with the roster. He's already coached Hyman, Gauthier, Janssen, Kapanen, Nylander, Timoshev, Dermott, Hall, Engvall. He's already coached these guys when they were down with the Marlies, so he's familiar with them. They're familiar with him, and when they were playing with the Marlies, they were doing nothing but winning. So that chemistry, those good vibes of those winning vibes are coming with Sheldon Keefe, anyone who's played with him. And the guys who haven't played with him, well, these guys can speak highly for him. So I think it's a great idea. You bring a guy who the team's already familiar with, and also a guy who is going to give our offensive players the green light. It's an offensive team. It's built offensively. Let us be offensive. And when we make mistakes, here's the key. When we make mistakes, when we have a stupid play where Austin Matthews and Nylander are cycling it and they're doing too many hot dog moves, they make a bad pass, there's a turnover, and there's a breakaway the other way, guess what? That's on Nylander and Matthews now. That's on them. And they're the kind of players where they're going to feel bad about it, and they're going to make adjustments. It's not going to be, this stupid system under Babcock caused that breakaway. This stupid system, I can't even get into a game. Now Matthews is going to be, double shifted. Hey, he just had a shift. The second line's out there. Second line takes a shot. Goalie smothers it. TV timeout. We ain't going to the third line. Go back with Austin Matthews, first line. So I really love Sheldon Keefe so far. It's only been 2 games, but if the Leafs can just give a green light to their offensive players, let them do their thing, and play defense through offense. In other words, when the puck's on our sticks, guess what? The other team can't score. So keep the puck on our stick for as long as possible. Don't chip it away. Don't give the other team the puck. Save that for a team that's a non-playoff team that's trying to make it in. It's got a place, but not with some of the best players arguably in the world. I'm not going to say Matthews is the best. Not going to say Marner or Tavares are the best. I'm just throwing it out there arguably, right? They can handle more than Chip and Chase Babcock. So what do you guys have to say about this whole situation? Again, I know it's late, but we've seen 2 games under Sheldon Keefe. Are the Toronto Maple Leafs a brand new team right here? Are they a team to worry about, or do you think it's just a honeymoon stage right now? The Leafs are going to go through some losses, and then the toxicity will return. Sheldon Keefe will get fired. What do you guys think? I'm optimistic. I think that the Leafs have been a good team the last 3 years. Like I said, Game 6, overtime loss against Washington. Next year, they win the Stanley Cup. Last year, Game 7, we had a chance to beat Boston in Game 6 and Game 7. 2 chances to beat the Eastern Conference champions who took St. Louis to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So we're showing that we can compete with the best teams in the East. We just need that little bit extra to get over the hump. Is Sheldon Keefe and his system the boost that we need? I'm hoping so. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the... Hey guys, Johnny here, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and make sure notifications are on so you don't miss out on any new content. We also live stream on Twitch where I take days off my life for your entertainment. Sonny Gray, get out of it. You stupid pieces of shit! I should have gone with Jose for Fernandez! Oh my God, pitching change. Fernandez, get your ass in there. Oh, I swear to God, baseball God just decided to all over me. Grand slam, oh yeah. Make me miss the playoffs with a first-ranked team. Year 2, 30 games above 500, no divisional win, trip to the wild card. First inning.